This is like time 7. I keep screwing up this video. I keep forgetting shit. So I'm going to try and do it all in one shot this time. The title is Injector End Angle, Injector Phasing if you have a Terminator. So if you have a big cam, lots of overlap, and you fire it up and it smells like gasoline coming out the exhaust pipe, it probably is if you're injecting in the wrong time. So if you look, events coming here, this is your blown piston because you went too lean, going back and forth, and you Olsen bill. So this LS7 head. So the piston's coming up. I can't do this one hand. And the exhaust valve is open, pushing the exhaust out the header tube at high velocity. Starts to close. It's still traveling high velocity. But the intake valve starts to open, so this is overlap. And so if you think about the piston being near top dead center, nothing's going into the bore. But you have a high suction rate here, exhaust scavenging, going out the header tube. So if you're injecting at this time period, it's going straight across. And so here's my camshaft, and it's got 35 degrees of overlap. So if you're injecting anywhere before the intake valve opens, and especially before the exhaust closes, it's going to go straight across like I just showed. And so what we do, we get this card on the Terminator. They use bottom dead center in the injection phasing for all your numbers. Anyway, that way, past is positive and negative that way. First thing you want to do is do a data log, go to your LC tuning, go to injector pulse width, and find your milliseconds. Just go around and travel around, find your lowest and highest millisecond injector pulse width. It helps if you have a big injector, because you don't want to do more than, like, my highest duty cycle is like 40-something percent duty cycle. So lower duty cycle, you can put all that fuel in less crankshaft rotation. So what you do is you put that, let me go back to, so you come to EFI, and then you come to injector phasing. You click this advanced box. These will pop up. You want RPM X, and Y-axis is your injector pulse width. So you get your low number and your high number. Left click, drag, let go, right click, fill columns. You do the same thing down here, but you fill row with your RPMs. And then what you want to find is when the exhaust valve closes. All right, so 180 minus the closing of 22, I'm negative 158. So here's my 0, negative 158. So at the bottom here, they explained all that down there too. So what I want to do is stop the fuel injection. I don't want to inject until that's closed. But I can't pick that number. I don't know why they did that, but they call it end of injection. So I need to find this number. So how I do that is, need to know, get my calculator out here. And revolution per minute to degrees. So for each RPM, I have all my different RPMs. For each RPM, you figure out how many degrees per millisecond. So at 1,000 RPM, the crankshaft's going to turn 6 degrees. So I got that number there, number 6. So now what do I do is I take, take the 1.84 milliseconds of injector pulse width, 6 degrees of rotation at just 1,000 RPM, I get 11.04. Then I take my closing number, 158, minus negative 11, I get negative 147. You don't forget that number there. So then you put negative 147 in the first box. I put the wrong number there, but it's 147. So then you do that for the top number there. And then you do it for the top right, and you do it for the bottom left. So over in this column, you do 43.8 times 1,000. Did I do that math over here? Somewhere. Anyway, you get that number and you subtract it from your 158. So you put a number there, you put a number there. And then if you want to know how far the fuel is traveling at a particular RPM, go to Wallace Racing, put in all your information there. And on my engine, the velocity is 551 per feet per second. Then you come to this calculator and you put in about 6 inches, half a feet, 0.5 feet, and you get 0.9 milliseconds, and then you come to millisecond to degree calculator, and you put your time there, and that is your degrees of travel. So at 7,300 RPM, it takes 2.5 degrees of rotation for the fuel to leave the injector to go to the far side of the intake valve. And that's like down here. All right. So then what you do, once you get those four corners figured out, go back to here, you get that number, and you drag and click, and you zero all this out first. So you get that high number, and you have your low number, and you right click, and you fill column, okay? And then you'll do the same thing over here, fill column. And then what you'll do is you'll highlight the whole thing, right click. This time you go fill row values, so it'll give you all the numbers in between here. So the first time you did it, you wanted the average of all these numbers, then you wanted the average of all these numbers, and then you wanted all of these, so that's when you did the entire highlight and click fill row. It'll fill all the rows in between that way. And there you go. Let's see, what am I forgetting? Oh yeah, so when I first did the calculations, see, they start off negative before the bottom dead center. Then they start going after. Well, you start getting up near the top, and my number is actually 400 crankshaft degrees of rotation, and it ended up with this crazy number. So at higher RPM, I wanted all the fuel to be injected before the intake closed, and it closes at 53. So 2.5 degrees of rotation to get the fuel from the injector to the valve, and so I just rounded it out to 50. So that's why all those higher numbers are just 50. But I know it works because when I went to my fueling table and then I did the learn, holy cow, I had all kinds of corrections after I did this, so it worked really good. So, and I don't say stand in the garage with the door closed, but it doesn't smell like it used to. It's way cleaner. So give it a shot. Let me know what happens.